We all face hard things. That's just part of being human. But what if we've been looking at them all wrong? What if the biggest challenges in our lives aren't actually signs that we're broken, but are really invitations? Invitations to become who we were always meant to be. That's the powerful idea we're going to dive into today. This quote from Glennon Doyle just completely flips the script on hardship, doesn't it? It's not a punishment. It's not a sign you failed. It's just life knocking on your door and asking, hey, are you ready to grow? So the real question is, how do we answer that call? All right, so first up, let's explore what it even means to accept this sacred invitation. It all starts with facing the one thing we are often the most afraid of, and that is the truth. That's a wild question, isn't it? We spend so much energy running from uncomfortable truths, thinking they're just going to weigh us down. But what if the exact opposite is true? There's this incredible chorus of thinkers, from researchers to writers, and they all seem to point to the same, really surprising conclusion. And just look at this. All these brilliant minds are framing truth not as some heavy burden, but as a tool. For Brené Brown, facing the truth about performing actually made life lighter. Stephen Pressfield points out that it's the resistance to the truth that's heavy, not the truth itself. For Cheryl Strayed, it was a lifeline. And I love this one from James Clear. It's a map. You can't get to where you're going if you don't even know where you are right now. Okay, so if the truth is so liberating, why on earth do we fight it so hard? Well, the answer really lies in this mix of cultural programming and, believe it or not, our own biology. We live in a culture that basically tells us needing other people is a weakness. Handle it yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So we put on this performance of being fine, and we push our real feelings way, way down. We numb out to avoid feeling vulnerable. But here's the thing. Our bodies, our actual biology, know the truth. We are wired for connection. And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It shows the two paths we can take. On the left, you've got numbing, staying busy, hiding in work. Iyanla Vanzant nails it when she says this is just being busy instead of being alive. But on the right, that's the alternative. That's letting the feelings in. It's like what Elizabeth Gilbert discovered. Letting sadness through the door didn't kill her. It actually softened her. So here's the crucial part. This isn't just about some emotional cost. Dr. Gabor Mate makes it crystal clear that bearing our feelings has a real physical price. When we ignore our emotional truth, our bodies keep the score. It literally becomes illness. It becomes stress. He calls avoidance a form of self-abandonment that just accumulates interest over time. Wow. And this all leads us to that big, scary word, vulnerability. Brené Brown defines it as this cocktail of uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. And yeah, that sounds absolutely terrifying. But look at the other side of the coin. It's also the birthplace of everything we actually want in life. Love, connection, purpose. The terror is literally located right next to the transformation. So we know that vulnerability is where all the good stuff is born. But how do we actually make that turn and lean into the terror instead of running away from it? That moment, that conscious decision to face the fear, that's what we call the trembling turn. I mean, here's a contradiction I think we've all felt. We're sold this idea that courage is supposed to feel heroic and powerful, right? But in reality, when you're actually being brave, it often feels like a full-blown panic attack. So why is that? Well, Mel Robbins gives us this incredible biological answer. Your brain is basically trying to protect you from what it sees as a threat, and that threat is change. So it triggers your fight or flight response. The physical sensation of panic and the physical sensation of courage are exactly the same. The only difference is what you decide to do next. And here's a vital reframe from psychologist Susan David. We're so conditioned to think that discomfort means we've made a mistake, that we're on the wrong track. But she reminds us, no, that's just part of the human experience. It's a sign that you're right at the edge of something really meaningful. And then you've got David Goggins, who offers an even more intense take. He says that feeling of panic, that's the feeling of your old, smaller self dying to make way for the new you. And transformation, that kind of internal death and rebirth, it is never, ever comfortable. So how do we actually do it? How do we walk this path? It kind of boils down to 3 steps. First, just acknowledge the feeling. Name it. Okay, this is fear. Let it be there without letting it grab the steering wheel. Second, tell the truth. Speak it, even if your voice is shaking. That's how you build trust with yourself and others. And third, take one tiny step. Lower the bar. Just act before your brain has a chance to talk you out of it. Okay, so you did it. You walked through the fear, you did the hard thing. What's waiting for you on the other side? This is where we get to the beautiful part, the payoff. You know, the most profound reward isn't that you become some shiny, new, perfect person. The reward is that you finally get to meet the person you've been all along. The hardship just strips away all the masks, all the roles, and all the expectations, until what's left is just your true self. A huge part of this payoff is something called integrity. And Martha Beck has this beautiful definition of it. It's simply the alignment of your inner and outer worlds. It's that deep, quiet sense of peace you feel when you finally stop pretending and you just start living your truth. And of course, the ultimate reward is freedom. But this isn't freedom from something outside of you. Thinkers like Byron Katie and Michael Singer define it as an internal state, the absence of an argument with yourself. It's the end of that inner war. It's that feeling of a deep, long-awaited exhale that you might have been holding for years. And this slide just captures that feeling so powerfully. It's the lightness Desmond Tutu talks about, the weight of resentment just sliding off your shoulders. It's the wholeness Nelson Mandela felt when he finally belonged to himself again. And it's that raw authenticity Maya Angelou speaks of when you finally stop asking for permission to just be you. And so we end close to where we started, with this incredible reminder from Glennon Doyle. The goal was never to become fearless. The goal is simply to stay present with yourself through the hard things, with honesty and with tenderness. That right there, that is the practice of freedom. So I'll leave you with this question. Just take a look at your own life right now. What hard thing is standing in front of you, not as a problem, but as an invitation to finally become who you truly are?